So, after camping under the tree and avoiding the cows on the cliff top, that was just after Beesands. I kept going along the top and arrived in Hallsands. It was only about a mile from where I was camped, and it was quite spooky walking in because it was almost like a ghost town. There were a few houses. There was just one guy doing some building work in a garden. That was it. There was nobody around, and it's quite an amazing place. Apparently, I think it was in the early 1900s. The previous town was built on the cliff top, and the entire village just fell into the sea after a storm, or during a storm. I think it was about 80 or 90 people that evacuated. I don't think anyone died. I'd have to look it up again. But yeah, all the buildings were still there. You could see like pipes coming out of the cliff where the building used to be attached but had been washed away. They built a little viewing platform so you could see it all. It was all quite surreal. But I was really low on water and food, and there was no shops. There was a restaurant, bar type place that was shut for the winter. I did ask the guy that was building, but he said he didn't have keys to the house, so I couldn't get water from there. Thanked him, walked on up the road a little bit. There were a few more houses up the top, and I just ended up knocking on doors just to try and get some water from someone that would be kind enough to give. But there's nobody in. It was about 10, 11 o'clock, so obviously people at work and all of that. But after 5 or 6 doors of knocking, eventually a nice lady came to the door, and I politely asked for some water. She very kindly went and filled my water bottle up, and she came back with 3 apples as well from her garden. I think it's a bit of a tradition because it happened before in Osmington. That if a weary traveller knocks on your door, you end up giving them some apples. They've got a lot of apples at those time of year, I guess. It was kind of autumn. So yeah, I kept on going, and I needed to get in to find a shop. So I looked online. I just before getting to Salcombe, the estuary, to get the ferry across, and I looked online, and there was a shop about a mile inland. So I chanced it and walked up there, and I arrived 15 minutes before it closed. Sorry, after it closed. So it was closed, shut, no food, no more anything. So I kind of sat there thinking, what am I going to do now? I think I might have missed the ferry as well. So I was a bit stuck. But this nice couple came along, asked if I was all right, and offered me a lift. They gave me a lift into Salcombe. They said they were driving around the estuary anyway. So I jumped on that one, and very kindly took me to Salcombe, dropped me off, said thanks, and then found my way up to the back of an estuary and camped up for the night. Here's the video. Good morning from Salcombe. Just woken up. I woke up about 6:30. Lay there for a bit, and it's now 7 o'clock, and it's a rather nice sunrise. Beautiful sunrise. Really powerful. It's right over Salcombe Bay. So the Salcombe estuary is just over there, and the sun's rising off there. Some interesting cloud stuff going on. It's just getting more and more intense. It's going along. Amazing to do a time lapse of that. I haven't really got time. Or I've got so many things to do this morning. I need to get on. But got a bit of a plan in place. It's all looking a bit dodgy and tricky today. Because first of all, it's all nice at the moment, but I think this is the beginning of what looks this evening to be like Armageddon. I think it looks like it's going to be absolutely chucking it down. You can feel it. It's just building up over there. It's just big dark skies, and it's kind of one of those. It feels like the apocalypse is on its way. but as of midday it's going to be yeah, raining, chucking it down, getting heavier and heavier, and then the wind's kicking in, and you can see the clouds are moving really quick as well. It's just that telltale sign of seeing that the weather is just going to go boom. So my plan is I've got between now and when it starts raining at about midday to really to get myself into some shelter. So I don't want to be walking on cliff tops in it, that's for sure. And I also need to get work done. I need to just be out of that. I need to be comfortable and ready for when the rain stops, because apparently over the next few days it's going to be really nice, or at least not the apocalypse. That's if we don't all die this afternoon, evening. Could be the 4 horsemen. But yeah, so my main priority is I'm going to pack my gear. I'm probably, because there are some woods over there. I'm right at the top of Salcombe, by the way, overlooking the estuary. That's where I found to be the best place to camp up. And so I'm going to prioritise going into town. Well, first of all, I'm going to see if there's a place in the foresty bit which is clear, that's nice and undercover. Then I'm probably going to stash some gear there, like my sleeping kit and tent stuff, lighten up my backpack. Then I'm going to scoot into town. I'm going to see if I can find a hardware shop and get some kind of tarp and some twine, string, something like that. I do have some, but not a lot. And then I'm going to come back into the forest. I'm going to make like a shelter type thing. It's big enough to put not just the tent up, but also me in underneath it. So it's kind of like a makeshift shelter, so that I can just chill in there. Because apparently this rain, when it starts, it's not going to stop until way into the dark. So I need to get ready. I don't want to be faffing around trying to sort stuff out. Then it starts raining, and then I have to come back into up to get a camp up, and then camp up in the rain, plonking about, getting everything wet. Nah, I'm going to organise myself first. So it looks like it's going to be a day off from walking. I'm more of a just hunkering down and trying to get myself into a comfortable space. So at least if it's raining and chucking it down, I'm not going to have a bad night, because I don't want to endanger myself with hypothermia, getting soaking wet and then trying to go to sleep and not having a way to dry my stuff. Oh look, the sun's actually appearing now. There it is, just behind my messy hair. Gorgeous. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm going to have my 2 cups of coffee, a bacon roll, pack my stuff down, stash it, go into town, run around like a loon, and then come back here. Anyway, one more shot of the sunrise. Boom. See you in a bit. Hi. Welcome to Camp Rob. As predicted, yep, it started raining, and apparently it's going to be torrential downpours for the next like 12 hours or so. It's going to begin about midday. It's knocking on that, and yeah, I put a plan A into place, which was get my backpack, put it all together, go into the woods, find a shelter somewhere that's sheltered and flat with a bit of a clearing, hide my backpack, and then scoot into town, go and find a big tarpaulin, then scoot back again, get my backpack, set up a camp so that I'm ready. And I think I've achieved it. I think I've done it. I'll show you my camp. first of all, I managed to go down to town and get a 3.5 metre tarpaulin for a £5. Because I didn't have my backpack, I was able to pretty much get down the big hill. It's a big hill, and then back up again before it started raining. Then I got into this clearing, got my backpack back out, managed to set up the tarp in a decent way, so it completely covers everything. I've got approximately 3.5 metres by 2.5 metres that is completely covered. I'm in sycamore woods, which is amazing because sycamore, it's really good for like the cover. So if the wind starts blowing really hard, which is going to, oh, there it comes, it's on its way, then it breaks up the wind, which is good. But lots of little details that I had to put in as well. I mean, one, I had to string it, then put a stick in the middle so that the rain runs down. Gives me lots of cover at the back. So from there you can't really see it because it's the length goes that way. It goes all the way back. And inside, I set it at an angle so that I know where the runoff is going. So the runoff is going down that way, which is going downhill. The worst thing you could do is put the tarp up so that the runoff comes here and then it flows into the camp. So any rain that goes on the top of the tarp goes that way. The other thing is little details like the rain is going to flow down the tree trunks. So I've had to dig a little hole at the base of the nearest tree to my left as you look at it, so that any rain that runs down collects in a little hole. And I've even built a little dam just in case, so no water's going to flow down the trunk and then flow into camp, because that would be a nightmare. I set up my tent last night. There's one thing about this tent, it's a great tent, but whoa, rain's coming. What it is, I reckon it's just a summer tent. It's great for summer, but when it comes to winter, it gets cold at night, you're warm in the morning, you're warm at night, you get condensation on the inside. That's bad, because the amount of water that's on the inside of the tent is just damp, and anything that touches the side of the tent gets damp. So I've ended up with a wet tent, and because it's damp and it's raining, you can't dry it out. So I've had to pack up a wet tent and put it in my backpack, and that actually weighs probably half as much as the tent itself, and there's no way of drying it. So the worst thing is when you get a tent out at night and you go to set it up and it's still damp, horrible. So this is really cool because I've set up a washing line and I can dry my tent out. I've also made a little chair, made sure I put a sock on the top of the stick so it doesn't puncture the tarpaulin, because that would be a nightmare. It's nice and sturdy so it doesn't blow down if the tarp starts flapping around. And it's just a really good space. I'm loving it. Cleared the ground, made sure there's no lumps and bumps and stuff. I got some sycamore leaves and stuffed them in the holes so that that goes nice and level. Made a rudimentary windbreak out of a few boughs of sycamore. Sycamore's very resilient. It's a really fast growing tree. It grows so quick, it won't miss a few little branches and leaves. So I've been okay pulling a few of those and making this windbreak so it stops the rain coming in from the side where the wind is blowing. Yeah, I'm well happy. Collected some wood, because tonight I think I'm going to have a fire. I know it's in the woods, but it's so spaced out and it's so damp that underneath my tarp I can make a very responsible fire, which means digging down, lining it. I've got enough water to make sure I put the fire out properly and then bury it. And nothing will leave no trace, all of that. That's about it really. Oh, the other thing, next to the hardware shop where I got the tub was a co-op. So I managed to get some chicken and some curry sauce and some ingredients and some rice. So I'm going to have a curry next to a fire in the woods in a rob shelter. Loving it. I think this is as much as I want really. I don't really need anything else. And tomorrow I can walk happily knowing I've had a good night's sleep. And yeah, this is Ray Mears meets Bob the Painter. Good morning. I'm still here in the rain under my tarp. It's proper raining, not just a bit of rain, but proper rain. Started at about 2 in the morning, going to wake me up, splattering around, and then you've got kind of more rain, and it's still raining, and it's still rain. Getting a bit bored now because I want to move on, but the thought of sloshing about in the rain with a big weight on my back does not fill my heart with joy. But it's got to be done at some point. It's going to rain quite a lot over the next month or so. I just have to get used to it. I've got waterproofs. My skin's waterproof. I'm not going to dissolve into a kind of like little puddle on the floor. But I've looked at the weather forecast and it looks like it's going to stop raining at about mid-afternoon. So I'm kind of just going to wait till then and see what happens. Still got things to do. I might just sit here and eat all my food, do some work. At least there's no dog walkers. But I'm going to have my coffee. Yay. Then I'm going to have some brekkie. And it's all looking a bit Blair Witch here now. The lines that suspend the tarp up, I kind of weighted them down to give it a bit more pressure, and I used a couple of pieces of log, so it all looks like this log's flying in, suspended in the air. So if anybody did come along and see, the first thing they'd see is a blue top, and then they'd see these floating logs. Like, how did that happen? Is this man a weird kind of witchy magician type thing? Or we just probably think, what a nut job. Anyway, I'm going to have my coffee, I'm going to have some food, and then I'm going to think about what I'm going to do next. Hopefully the rain will stop earlier than predicted, and then I can kind of get on my way. And if it keeps carrying on, I want to stay another night now. I kind of want to get back on the path. I miss the path. It's addictive. It's so addictive. Even the struggle and the pains that you just want to get back on the path. It doesn't take long. It takes a day or two. And you want that trudge. You want the one foot in front of the other and gaining ground. But I'll keep you posted.